But if you happen to have one with a buckle, like a regular yoga strap, that's fine. And we won't use it today, but any days we happen to have everybody with a strap, we might use that. Oh, let me tip that camera down just a little more so you can see my feet better. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And so I have my usual setup. I think all of you are familiar with the setup, something that enables you to easily slide your feet on whatever kind of floor surface you have. I have blocks, but they're not absolutely necessary. And then you want to set the height of your chair so that you're roughly 90-degree angles here from your shin bones to the thigh bones to the torso. And so because chairs are not one size fits all, sometimes you can use a blanket or towel or more height to put on the floor, a blanket down there to raise your feet up if needed. Or for me, I have a taller body, longer legs, and so I need to put the blanket here to raise the chair up. So if you'd rather have a taller chair, put the blankets here. If you'd rather have a shorter chair, put the blankets on the floor. And then the blankets on the floor, you're just going to have to deal with getting them. Sometimes they get in the way with things we're doing, and sometimes you use them. If you have a hard surface, you can use them to slide your feet on the floor. All right, so we're going to sit forward of the chair back so that as your spinal muscles and your abdominal muscles, we generally just say the core muscles have to work to hold you upright. When they get tired, then you can lean back in the chair, but as much as possible, even during the day, don't use the chair backs. They actually weaken those core muscles. So as much as you can, sit forward in the chair. And then when those muscles get fatigued, because now we're working them, it can only be worked for so long before they get tired. And then when they're tired, then of course, use the chair back. I had a yoga teacher once who said the chair was the worst invention. All right, so let's put our feet down, hands down, resting. Even though you're sitting upright and working some of those muscles, your core muscles, get the body as relaxed as possible. And tune into your breath. So we played with house breathing before, and that is imagining your torso is a house with multiple floors. Today, let's do 5 floors. So it's kind of a tall house, like maybe you could think of like a townhouse. And so below the belly, or below your navel, is one floor, and then from the navel to the ribs is another floor. So the soft belly area is divided in half, below the navel and above the navel. And then the rib cage will divide into 3 parts: the lower ribs, the mid ribs, and the upper ribs up underneath your collarbones. This part up underneath the collarbones, I'm going to call the attic space. And below the belly, below the navel, is the basement. And so usually the basement and the attic are the most difficult places to bring the breath. Everybody's breath is different. So I'm just saying what the majority, but every now and then I get somebody who says, oh, breathing up here is super easy, or breathing down here is super easy. But for the majority of us, those 2 locations are the most difficult. And then of the 3 in the middle, the upper belly, the lower and mid ribs, usually 1 or 2 of those locations are easier for us. Your job is to figure out which are the easiest and which are the most difficult, and kind of put them on a spectrum of the super easy. That tends to be where you breathe day in, day out. That's become your sort of your blueprint breath pattern. And then the ones that are the most difficult are where you hardly ever take the breath. And it's very challenging to try to get breath into those very, very difficult places. So you want to just tease in toward that. So if you start to open up some of the breaths that are toward the most difficult, but not play with that most difficult, then you'll start to open up um, your all kinds of things open up, because the muscles that you use to breathe, they're not just your respiratory diaphragm, but the abdominals get involved for belly breathing, and the intercostals, the little muscles between each rib, serratus, there's all kinds of muscles that work in sync to get a breath to go in one place or another. Okay, so the visualization for house breathing is to imagine that tube that you're breathing, your trachea. Imagine it's like the chimney of the house, but it's sort of a magical chimney because it can take air in and out. So it sort of like blows the air into one floor and pulls the air out. So you can kind of think of it as a way to sort of clean house, clean one floor at a time. And you're going to let the opening of the chimney, the hearth. I don't know if that's actually called the hearth, or if that's the hearth is the other part in front of the opening. I'll have to look that up. But you're going to imagine that opening of the chimney is able to slide up and down, or that you have, a chimney on every single floor, and the flue opens on by demand, by whichever floor you want it on. All right, so let's play with that. So open that chimney all the way down to the very lower basement, below the navel. And imagine that breath coming in and kind of swirling around the whole floor. And then you exhale and you pull it out. So you're going to use your breath to sort of clean the cobwebs out. Or if that basement, basements are that got that dank, musty smell sometimes, you're going to air it out with your breath down there. All right, just a couple breaths and then go to the next floor. Let's go from the navel to the ribs, the upper belly. Just open the flue there, or open the chimney opening. Let the breath swirl around that whole floor, especially the back. So most of us can easily get the breath into the front of whichever floors are easiest, but the back of that easier floor is difficult. So on your easiest floors, focus on the back. All right, moving up, we'll do the lower rib area. And feel free to put your hands on these floors to really see if you can feel the movement of the breath expanding that area. And then the mid ribs. And I kind of put my fists to the sides here to feel it going out to the sides. Remember, the front is easiest, so it's hard to put your hands on your back of your ribs there. So just hit the sides if you can, right under the armpit area. And then the upper attic spot, right up underneath the very first couple of ribs there, underneath your collarbones. I once heard that this area of the lungs is the area where most people get lung disease. So this area is very important to try to get the attic, clean those cobwebs out of the attic. So if you spend just 2 minutes every day playing with house breathing, one, getting to know which are your easy floors and which are the most difficult, and then not doing either of those, but playing somewhere in the middle toward the ones that are more difficult. And then I also say, on days when we're having a rough time of it in other parts of our life, emotionally or something, don't do the hard. Don't play in the very easy, but maybe just toward the easy side, but maybe in the back body, that kind of thing. Next, we're going to do movement with the breath. So we'll start with the hands on the lap and keep your elbows kind of close in. And on the inhale, flip the palms up. Just kind of rolling on the hand, so it's not a picking up and putting down, but just roll along the edge of the hand there around the pinky finger. Exhale down and inhale up. All right, and we're gonna do a little more movement of the hand. So swing the hands out, keep the elbows still pretty close in. Exhale, turn the palms down as the hands come back in. Inhale, swing it out. Exhale, back in. And then as your shoulders and arms allow, let the elbows go out a little ways from the body. More if comfortable for you. And just going more and more range of motion as your arms and shoulders allow. So never moving into anything where the body's saying, ow. Stay away from that. And if your shoulders are good, you might try taking them up in front, which tends to be a little more difficult movement for some. And palms up, out to the sides tends to be easier. And just take them up as high as comfortable for you. Exhale, back down, palms down. Let's do 2 more. The biggest range of motion that is in your current capacity, staying all the way comfortable. Just feels like a nice stretch. All right, once the palms land down, just stay right there. We're going to go down to the feet now. So whatever you're use for sliding your feet on the floor, let's go ahead and bring those in and place the heels on that. And I like to scooch even further forward, so as much of your thigh is off the chair as possible and comfortable, allowing that. You're not going to let the chair tip, of course, so keep your chair stable. You can use your hands back behind you and lean back a little bit if you like. We're going to take one leg towards straight on the inhale, and on the exhale, bend the knee and changing legs. So kind of walking in place in the chair. Inhale, one leg slides out towards straight. Exhale, back in. And begin to take the legs straighter and straighter, as straight as is comfortable for you and your knees and hips and ankles and everything today. And then we're going to start to take it out toward the side. So a little bit of a outward angle there. And again, going side to side. Inhale a leg out, exhale it back in, and switch sides. And keeping it approximately the same on each side, so about the same angle. Otherwise, we'll end up walking in circles if we don't stay even, right? All right, next time you take a leg out, it needs to be at a comfortable place where you can stay. And we're just going to stay there for a breath. Feel free to point and flex in that stay. And then on an exhale, bring it back in. And about that same angle on the other side. And stay for a point and a flex over there. Exhale, bring it back in. And then pick a different angle. And we'll do circles. A couple of circles in one direction. A couple of circles in the other direction. And then exhale back in. Same thing, other side, circles. A couple of times in each direction, and then on an exhale, bring the leg back in. Now we're going to take both feet out and in at the same time, so you may want to lean back a little bit. Heels on the sliders, whatever you're sliding on. Exhale, the knees bend and come back in. Inhale, they go out as straight as they're willing to go today. All right, next time you bring them back in, hold right there. And you can get those out of the way if they're bothering you. Slide back, not all the way back, but just not on the edge of the chair anymore. I'm going to do our 6 directions of the spine. On the exhale, look down and round your spine toward the back of the chair. Exhale. Inhale, take a little back bend and emphasize the back bend in the thoracic region where your shoulder blades are by squeezing your shoulder blades in toward each other. And going back and forth, those 2 movements. And exhale, a rounded spine. Inhale, a little back bend. Exhale is the rounded. Go at pace with your breath. So I might be breathing too fast or too slow for you. You go at your pace, and you may end up doing more or less repetitions, and that's okay. All right, let's bring it to neutral. And then we'll take our laterals. And if you have your blocks, let's just get the blocks set up and ready. Put them on the tall side on either side so they're in range for reaching. But we won't go to those right at the start. First, we'll start with the hands on the hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, lean to one side. Inhale, back up. And exhale, other side. All right, and again, exhale over. Inhale up. All right, we're going to take our twist dynamically. Arms go up on the inhale. Exhale, opposite hand to one of your knees. The other hand swings in back. Inhale to center. Second side. Just a couple of times. 2 laterals and 2 twists dynamically, and then just rest at center. And now we'll take them a little deeper. So the spine is a little warmed up now as we know this, that we can get in and out of the pose, the lateral or the twist we'll get to in a second again. So we're going to add a stay. We'll go into the pose and stay. If for any reason you get a catch, usually people get a catch in the ribs or sometimes in the belly or hip, where if you get a catch, don't stay in a pose where something's aching. Just come back in and out like we did a moment ago. Otherwise, we're going to stay, and so you could use the block or part of your chair to go down onto and rest. Exhale here. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, head over to that side, a lateral, using some part of the chair anatomy, a leg or a rung if you got it, or hand to the block. And we'll stay there. And sometimes this makes us go a little deeper, so you may get a little catch. If it's a stretch, it's one thing. So that does deepen the stretch in the side waist area. Keep that back hip down, that will deepen it. Squeeze your shoulder blades, that will deepen it. Or you can add the arm up and over. All of those will deepen it. If it was already deep enough, just back off of any of those. Just let whatever I'm saying go in one ear and out the other. Most of my instructions are going to be to deepen it. All right, let's back ourselves back out. Inhale, come up. And exhale, come to rest. And then we're going to take the other side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, over you go. That down arm, find something to rest on, block or part of the chair. And then the back sit bone stays down toward the chair. Shoulder blades squeeze together. That prevents you from kind of rounding the shoulders. Keep your torso, your heart looking forward toward the screen here. And then other arm can be added, and you just take that arm as much as comfortable for your shoulder. And we'll back it off. Just put that arm in reverse, back to the hip, and inhale up. And exhale at the center. Now we'll take a twist, which will stay in as well. This time I do like to scoot a little further forward. And I like to take my knees a little wider. It makes my arm have to reach a little further, takes me a little deeper in the twist. You can back off of any of that if you like. Inhale, raise the arms just about shoulder height. And exhale, take a twist. One arm coming to the opposite knee, the other hand, find any place back there that's comfortable for you. Keep both sit bones down, the tailbone and the pubic bone pulling down, but the crown of the head lengthening up. And it's not to lift the chin or drop the chin, The chin, the bottom of the chin is roughly parallel to the floor. The jawline, I should say jawline, because some of us have a little more chin going down there, don't we? All right, on your inhale, you're going to unwind, let the arms float back up, just as much as comfortable for you, and go right into the other side on your exhale. All right, those 4 bones at the bottom of the pelvis pull down, tailbone, pubic bone, and the 2 sit bones, left and right sit bones. All those pull down. Away from that, lengthen up out through the crown of the head. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And wait for your next inhale to unwind. And exhale, drop the arms down and round the spine. We'll go right into those cat-cow movements. A rounded spine on the exhale and a back bend on the inhale. All right, those are the 6 directions, which incidentally, I do have those on a handout. If anyone wants a handout, email me, and I'd be glad to send that to you. All right, we're going to come back to the sliders. And sorry, we're going to turn sideways on the chair. Now, you can turn as far around to that side as comfortable. If you got an arm, obviously you can't turn very far. But if you don't have an arm to your chair and you feel comfortable turning all the way to the side, great. And then you'll need a slider on the leg that's closest to the screen. So before we did those spokes toward the front of us, now we're going to focus on the spokes on the back side. So it's the same breath work. Inhale when the leg goes out, exhale when the leg bends. And you can play with turning your foot, different angles, sometimes the heel going out, sometimes the toes going out. And you're looking for the rotators in the hip to work. And I like to stretch my inner thighs, which tend to be tighter on me. If you know the outside of your leg is tighter, then head out with the heel first. I'll get that IT band side there for you, Catherine. All right, now let's pick one of these angles to stay on. It needs to be comfortable, not one that's, your deepest stretch. So pick a fairly easy one and we'll point and flex there. Circles. Again, just a couple times in each direction. And then exhale, bring that leg back in. And now sit on the very edge of your chair so that your thigh can drop down in front of the chair. Just scoot over, and I have a little bit of room to place my hand. One hand's on the back of the chair and the other hand's on the chair. And start to stretch that leg back behind you. Again, any of those angles. So my knee doesn't like it when I take it full out toward the middle of the room there. So I need to take mine straight back. And it's good because that stretches the hip flexor here, which we rarely get these stretched. Most of us are sitting in chairs all day and have it flexed. So this is a nice extension through that thigh and hip area, the top of the thigh. So stretch it back and bend it on the exhale and back on the inhale. If it feels comfortable and you want to stay there to enjoy that stretch, feel free. And then we're going to walk it around and do all that on the other side. So bend your knees, bring your legs back in front. Don't forget to keep your slider there. So I'm going to just move my slider with me as I go to the other side. And set yourself up over there. And we'll start with those spokes that are kind of from where we left off, and take it out a little further. So where we left off was actually just a little further forward because you can't really take your legs straight out to the side before, or at least I've never seen anybody do that. Straight out. And so from wherever you left off, start to go back a little further. And this leg, I can take my heel out first, but that other side bothered my knee to do that angle. But this side's my good side. Well, not that I have a bad side. All right, and then playing with that hip flexor stretch. So sometimes the leg doesn't go all the way straight, the quad's tight or the hip flexors are tight. And so just however much you can get that leg straight is gonna give you the stretch. So whatever is your current capacity, that's what you're doing. And we'll hold there for a couple breaths. All right, and then release. Bring the legs back in front, and we'll come to the center. Oops. Center with both sliders. Edge of the chair, scoot to the edge. Heels on the sliders and stretch the legs out and in just a couple times. Just squaring it up. And you want to kind of feel, does everything feel fine in my hips? How about my knees? How about my ankles? And then we're going to put the toes down and keep the ball of the foot down and stretch the legs out. So that'll give a stretch into the top of the ankles there. Same thing, inhale out, exhale back in, same breath. All right, one more. All right, let's go to the side again. Keeping one slider in front. Pick any of those angles that were comfortable for you. Stretch that leg back as much as comfortable for you, and then turn toward your front leg. We'll call that leg the back leg. It's behind us, right? And on an exhale, fold over your front leg. And reach down the leg toward the floor for a little, this is Parsvottanasana modified with a chair, and then climb back up on your chair, on your knee, on your thigh, and the elbow is going to go on the thigh, the same elbow that's on that leg. So that's my left leg, left elbow down. Put the right hand to the hip or your other hand to the hip and turn to face the screen. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other. And then come on up and raise the arms shoulder height for warrior 2. Go back down, elbow to thigh. And we're going to raise that outside arm. Again, just in the range of motion that works for you, stopping wherever you need to. If that arm goes all the way over, great. If not, you stop it wherever you need to, and then go ahead and put it right in reverse, all the way back to the hip. And come on up for warrior 2 again. Then drop the back arm to the hip or to the back leg and raise the front arm. Arch it back as comfortable for you, and then we're going to come back to warrior 2. Good, and then drop the arms, bend the back knee, bring the back knee all the way around to meet the front knee. So we'll be on the side of our chair, and a rounded spine and a little back bend. A couple of these. All right, excuse me. All right, let's walk it around to the other side. We'll do all that over there. Don't forget to keep your slider in range at the front there. All right, back leg. Find any of those angles that worked for you. This side, I can pick a different angle. Well, I guess I better do the same or I'll be walking in circles, right? And turn to face your front knee, your bent knee. Exhale, fold over that bent knee. And you can take your arms further down to deepen that stretch. And then right back up, come on up, and elbow to thigh. So now it's my right side that's going to be in front, and I take the other hand to the hip, turning my torso to face the screen, squeezing the shoulder blades toward each other. If comfortable, we'll raise that arm and put it in reverse. warrior 2. Back to flank stretch, we call this one. Adding the arm if comfortable for you and as comfortable for you, just doing your yoga for you. The warrior 2. And then we're going to drop the back arm anywhere and reach the front arm up and over, and then come back to warrior 2. Another flank stretch. Warrior 2. And turn to face the front knee. Back knee joins the front. Over on that side. And some cat-cows here. A rounded spine on the exhale and a little back bend on the inhale. Back and forth, those two movements. Exhale. Exhale is the cat. Inhale is cow. And don't ask me how they name these things. All right, let's walk it around to face front. All right, we're going to lean forward on our elbows to thighs, and drop one arm down the side, and let that arm give a little shake. And circles in one direction. This is good for frozen shoulder, and in the other direction. And then you need to be sitting more toward the side of the chair so you've got room to swing. And if you've got a wall there, you might want to pull your chair forward so we can swing the arm forward and back. Swing, swing, swing. Next time the arm goes back, hold it there. And keep the elbow high and just bend the forearm down. So bending and straightening, but keeping the elbow where it's at in place. Sometimes I imagine a broomstick is under my elbow and I'm just folding it over the broomstick. All right, keep that broomstick there and instead reach behind your back and back out and behind the back. All right, one more like that and stretch it back and swing, 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 and circles again, both directions. Did we do both directions before? I can't remember. All right, and then changing sides. So you might want to scoot a little to the side if you're running into your chair there. Resting elbow on your thighs and start the swing. Swing, swing, swing. Higher and higher on each side, higher in front, higher in back. And then the next time it goes back, we're going to keep it there and just bend the elbow. Bend and straighten the elbow a few times. And then now moving the hand back behind you and straightening, bending and straightening, but the hand is reaching for your back. A few of those, and then swings again. Calm it down and circles. A few in one direction and then reverse, go in the other direction. All right, and then just give that hand and arm a little shake. And shake the other side as well. All right, and then come on back up. I'm going to stretch the legs out in front, not all the way straight, so scooch forward, and the legs have just a little bit of a bend. They're sort of like that. So walk the feet out a little bit, but not so far that any part of your foot comes up. And we're going to slide the hands down the legs, first landing elbows to the thighs, and then start to slide your hands down further. And this can help open up, let me just show this from the side. So this can help open up that shoulder joint using sort of your legs to help. And now I'm going to walk my feet further out. Feet walk out, just inching out. It's kind of hard to tell, but I'm inching my feet out. And this will start to stretch in the shoulder. And then you're going to walk back up your legs, and you can bend the legs whenever you like. We're going to do that again. Just shake it out a little, and then walk your feet out again. almost feels like you're trying to get your legs as straight as you can get them without the feet wanting to uh, lift off the floor. And then lean down on your legs, so land on the elbows first. And also the feet aren't so far out that it feels like it's gonna, you're gonna fall out of the chair or something. And then let the hands walk down the legs toward the feet. You can kind of get your armpit toward the legs, and then you can walk your feet further out to help open that leg. And almost like you want to kind of pull your hips back rather than walk your feet forward. Pull your hips back on the chair, and that will also open and stretch into that armpit area. And then climb back up and come around to the front again. All right, and then we're going to bring the fingertips together in front. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep your shoulder blades squeezing together so your collarbones are wide apart. So you get this spot here and keep it from rounding. Get that wide, wide, wide apart. And on your next exhale, press your fingers together. And release on the inhale. Exhale, press again. I'm going to turn the hands down so the fingertips point down and do the same thing. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other, especially the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. Inhale, and on the exhale, press. Inhale, release. Exhale, press. And then the whole hand, palms together, fingers together. Same thing, shoulder blades squeezed together. You're broadening your collarbones. Feel like someone's pulling your collarbones back toward the wall behind you. And hands in namaste in front. Exhale, press. Inhale, release. Press again. Release. And we'll do that twice with the hands. So the fingers are pointing down. Press on the exhale. Don't forget to keep the shoulder blades together. Inhale, release. Shoulder blades together. Exhale, press again. And release. Shake it out. All right, we're going to come to the neck. So the neck has muscles that come into the shoulder. So we're going to sort of tease into the shoulder using the neck. Most of the time we look down a lot. I think our devices and things are helping with that. But even reading or cooking and things like that, we're looking down. So looking up becomes more difficult. And we're going to use the eyes first and then let the head and neck follow. So on the inhale, keep your head from moving. Start to take your eyes up toward the ceiling, toward your forehead. See if you could see the hair on the top of your head. And you'll feel your head naturally want to go with it. Just make sure you're not creasing the back of the neck. So you want the back of the neck to stay long, even as you keep looking up further and further. And then release back to center. And then we're going to take the eyes to one side, pick a side, any side, and you'll feel the head want to move to help the eyes. But let the eyes be what is leading. And even the shoulders sometimes want to go. Try not to have it go down into the shoulders. Just try this, the eyes going and then the head follows. Keep your shoulders broad. Let's squeeze the shoulder blades together, and especially the shoulder away from where the head is turning. That shoulder likes to round and come forward. And then bring the eyes back to center and the head follows. All right, and anytime you need to shake it out, feel free. We're going to do the other side. When you're ready, the eyes go first. Pretty soon the head's like, oh, let me help. And let it, but really the eyes keep going first, like you're watching a little bug travel on the wall, and you really don't want the bug to know you're moving. Just your eyes. Keep your shoulders back. Can the eyes go even a little more? And then follow that bug back out. You decided to go the other way. Follow the bug all the way back to the spot in front of you, and then the head matches or meets up with it. Again, feel free to shake it out anytime. So we're not going to do any of the down movements because, as I said, those muscles are generally overstretched. We're going to take a diagonal up to the side. So from wherever your eyes are at the horizon line, just start to follow a bug up toward the corner. And as you can imagine how that bug might continue, to keep your head going in that direction. Eyes first and then let the head go. And again, you want the back neck to stay long. If you feel like anything's creasing back there, extend the back of the neck just a little more. Pull your shoulder blades down in toward each other. And then follow the bug back out. All right, other side. Eyes go first. Keep the eyes going, and then pretty soon the head says, yeah, like, oh, I want to help. But you're really trying not to let that bug know that you're moving. Then the bug decides to go back. And back to center. All right, just roll the shoulders around. You can give the head a little bobble like those bobbleheads people have in their cars. Give a little bobble, shake, rattle, and roll. All right. Let's do one sun salute just to get everything all tweaked out. Exhale, hands to the left. Inhale, raise the arms again, your range of motion. Exhale, elbows to thighs, or hands can walk down the legs. Inhale, come on back up. Exhale, bring a knee to chest. Lunge. You can stretch that leg out if you like. And put that leg down and walk your feet out for downward dog. Hands to the back of the chair. We're going to push into the chair for a little arm strengthening work. And then release. Bend the knees, feet on the floor, take a little back bend. And come back out and stretch the arms up as comfortable for you, as high as you can, and move the arms back toward the wall behind you for an even deeper stretch. And then release down. We're going to lunge the other leg. Exhale. You can stretch the leg out if you like. And feet to the floor. Exhale over the legs. Inhale all the way up, arms up. Again, your range of motion. And exhale back to start. We're going to go again. Inhale, arms up. Exhaling, over you go. Inhale, come on back up for a lunge. Hands behind one leg. Hug the knee in. Inhale that foot back down. Walk your feet out. Press into the chair back. Downward dog. Arm strengthening version. Back bend. Downward dog, arm stretch version. Shoulder stretch. Move your arms toward the wall behind you and then release. We're going to lunge keep changing legs, the side you're lunging on. Try to keep track of that. Exhale, fold forward. All the way up, arms up. And exhale back to start. All right. Let's start to unwind a little bit. Let's get our sliders. And we'll shake the legs out with a counter pose for the legs. Counter posing is just to bend and straighten the joints that were worked. So on the inhale, the legs go out. Exhale, bring them back in. And if you want, you can take them out a little toward the sides. That's an option. Some of the time you can keep the ball of the foot down. Some of the time the ball of the foot up and the heels down. So some of the time sort of pointing, some of the time flexing. Let's just do one more. And then bring it back in and rest. And we're going to take a cat-cow, but with the arms moving as well. Won't really need the sliders here. So the exhale is the rounded spine. The hands are down, palms down on the lap. And on the inhale, a back bend and open the palms and arms out. And the range of motion the arms do is completely up to you. You can make it a big movement or a smaller movement. And if you start big, we're going to go smaller and smaller anyway. So if you want to do your big movement, get it in now, and then slowly start to rein it in so it's not such a big movement. You might remember how we started those arms. And so at some point, keep the elbows closer in to the body, and just those lower arms are moving. But the spine is moving. So we only did the arms in the beginning, and now we got the arms and the spine moving. All right, now we're going to start to make the spinal movement less and less, and the arm movement less and less. So palm flips, but with the tiniest movement of the spine. And then just end with the palms down, spine in neutral, feet on the floor. We're going to bring the palms to cup over the eyes for palming. Exhale, palm, and a little bit of a rounded spine. It's fine. Slide your fingers down, releasing the palms away. That's your inhale movement. Exhale, palm again. Inhale, release. And just one more of those. And if you want to stay palming the eyes for an extra breath or so, that's fine. And just careful not to press on the eyeballs. Keep the palms just cupping to cover and block out the light. And then slowly releasing the fingers down, palms down, and you can scooch back in your chair and make yourself comfortable. Let's go back to that house breathing, and let's stay out of the attic or the lower belly. And so any of those easier areas, and if the attic and the lower belly are easier for you, then by all means you can do those. Sorry, don't cross your legs. Let's keep the feet flat on the floor. And so picking an easy area of the many floors of your house. Not even going into the back body, just pick an easy floor and an easy place on the floor, usually the front. And so when you do your easy breath, it should be very relaxing for you. See if you can lengthen the exhale. Just make the exhale maybe 1 or 2 seconds longer than the inhale. If it was already a couple of seconds longer, make it another second or two longer than that. And if it was shorter than your inhale, make it a second or two longer so that it matches the inhale. And then take it even further, add another second or two to your exhale. When we lengthen the exhale like that, it's very calming for the nervous system, for most of us. Every now and then it's actually agitating for someone to do it that way. And if that's you, then just let this breath go. Just take any relaxed breath pattern for you. And we're going to let our mouth, just from the inside, feel like your palate widens, kind of like you're saying E, but without saying anything. Let your palate widen into that inner smile. And see if you can let that inner smile go up into the eyes as well. And we'll end it with that smile. Well, thank you. Namaste.